Picture a cage called unbreakable, trapping thousands inside. Now imagine it's someone you know in that cage. They are unseen, misunderstood, alone, bound by 3 letters. They changed everything. Just 3 letters. HIV. Now take a moment and ask yourself, what do you feel when you hear those letters? Fear, discomfort, the urge to look away, or maybe something else? A spark of compassion, a call to understand, to act. Since 2010, HIV cases in our country have surged by a shocking 260%. Our nation now ranks second in the Asia Pacific for the fastest growing HIV infection rate. While the world progresses, our HIV cases keeps climbing. Here's where it gets deeper. Beyond what we see and touch lies an unseen wall, built from fear, shame, and silence, holding us back from real change. These cages prevent people from seeking the test they deserve, from accessing the treatments they need, and from truly living beyond HIV. So stay with me until the end to uncover the powerful truths that will not only challenge stigma, but empower you to inspire change and stand up for our future. In our last video, we shared about Fiji's hidden battle with drugs, a crisis that's tearing through our communities, breaking families apart, and changing the course of countless futures. Underneath it all, there is another challenge linked to drugs, but reaches even further into our lives.
If you think HIV isn't a problem in Fiji, listen closely. In 2022, there were 245 new cases. The year after, in 2023, that number nearly doubled to 415, with 82 lives tragically lost to AIDS-related causes.
And here's the part that'll make you stop. Just in the first 6 months of this year alone, we're at 552 new cases. Yes, you heard that right, 552 in just half a year. And this, my friends, is the only surface of much deeper problem. Now here's where the things get even more eye-opening. Out of those 552 new cases, a shocking 15% came from drug use. People using needles, unknowingly stepping into this crisis. But this isn't just about numbers. Imagine this. In 2022, only 6 teenagers aged from 15 to 19 were diagnosed with HIV. Just 6. Now in 2024, that number has jumped to 50. 50 young lives, full of promise, facing an unexpected and harsh reality. Shocking, isn't it? So let me ask you, do you even know your HIV status? Or are you like I was, avoiding the test, pretending it's not your problem? Maybe you think, I don't want that disease, or I don't want a death sentence. But here's the reality. HIV is here, in our community, in our homes. Ignoring it won't make it disappear. Let's talk about it now. Let's have the hard conversations. The ones that make us uncomfortable. Because if we don't, we'll have no choice but to watch as our future slips away. And then, what will we have left to say? I'm sorry. I was too afraid to speak up.
So, how does HIV really spread?
Imagine HIV like a boat that can only move on certain rivers, and our everyday contact, like hugging, shaking hands, or sharing a meal, represents the dry land. And just like a boat, it cannot sail on land. HIV can't spread through these daily interactions. For HIV to travel, it needs those rivers to flow through. These rivers are created by certain actions, like unprotected sex, sharing needles, or situations with direct blood or bodily fluid contact. Without these rivers, HIV has nowhere to go. Some people believe that simply washing a needle with water makes it safe, but that's like rinsing off river water without really cleaning it. HIV can still be there. Activities like Bluetoothing or chemsex are like widening the river, making it easier for HIV to spread faster and reach more people. When it comes to mother-to-child transmission, there's a small stream connecting them during pregnancy, birth, or breastfeeding. But with proper medical care, it's like building a dam on this stream, stopping HIV from crossing to the child. By understanding and avoiding these rivers, we can stop the boat of HIV from reaching others and keep our community safe. So how do we protect ourselves? Think of prevention as building walls along those rivers to stop HIV from moving.
Can you really tell if someone has HIV just by looking at them? Do all people with HIV show obvious symptoms?
In this case, let's think of HIV like termites in a wooden house. From the outside, the house might look perfectly fine, no visible damage, no obvious signs. But the inside, termites could be quietly eating the wood away, weakening the structure without anyone noticing. The only way to know if the termites are there is to inspect the house closely. Just like the only way to know if someone has HIV is to get tested. Relying on looks alone won't tell you what's really happening beneath the surface. Let's use the example of rain. Think of HIV like it's rain. When it rains in an area, it doesn't choose who gets wet. It falls on anyone, no matter their background, age or lifestyle. If you use an umbrella or wear a raincoat, you'll stay dry. But if you go outside without any protection, you'll get wet. In this case, certain actions like unprotected sex or sharing needles are like stepping outside without an umbrella, making it easier to get wet, or in this case, to be exposed to HIV. Just like the rain doesn't pick favorites, HIV doesn't target certain groups. It can affect anyone who is exposed.
Can HIV be cured with traditional or herbal medicine?
Think of HIV like a tree that bears fruit slowly over time. Without the right care, the tree might weaken, but with consistent treatment, like watering and fertilizing, it can stay healthy and strong for many years. Antiretroviral therapy is like giving the tree exactly what it needs to thrive. HIV is not a death sentence. With antiretroviral therapy, people with HIV can live long, fulfilling lives just like anyone else. While traditional remedies may feel comforting, they don't nourish the tree like antiretroviral therapy does. And here's something powerful. With consistent ART, HIV becomes undetectable, meaning it's so well managed it can't spread to others. U equals U. Undetectable is equal to untransmittable.
Is HIV the same as AIDS? And if you have HIV, does it mean you'll eventually develop AIDS?
Great question. Many people think that being diagnosed with HIV is the same as having AIDS. But there's a difference. Let's go back to the boat example. Think of HIV like a small leak in a boat. If you catch it early and use the right tools to control it, the boat stays afloat, and you can keep sailing without any issues. AIDS, on the other hand, is what can happen if the leak is left untreated for a long time. It can cause serious damage, and eventually the boat might even sink. Just because someone has HIV doesn't mean they will develop AIDS. With regular care like antiretroviral therapy or ART, people with HIV can keep their boat strong and prevent it from ever reaching the point of serious damage or sinking. Remember, HIV is not the same as AIDS. With early testing and treatment, people with HIV can live long, healthy lives without ever progressing to AIDS. We all know what it's like to be judged for something outside our control, right? For people with HIV, that judgment builds a chain of stigma. Let's find out what that means and how we can help break those chains. Imagine stigma as a chain that wraps tightly around someone living with HIV, restricting their movement. Every judgmental word, every sidelong glance, every assumption adds a new link to that chain, gradually pulling them away from support and care they need. This chain isn't something they chose to wear. It's something placed on them by society's misconceptions and fears. And as it grows, it isolates them, making it harder to reach out, to connect, or to simply feel seen and accepted. But here's the truth. Every time we show empathy, every time we educate ourselves, and every time we offer support without judgment, we are unlocking those links, loosening that chain. With each act of understanding, the weight lessens, freeing them to live fully without the burden of stigma. Stigma is the chain, not HIV. Breaking this chain, we give people with HIV the freedom to access support, live openly, and walk forward with dignity. In our communities, we've always stood strong together, through storms, challenges, and everything the ocean has sent our way. We look out for each other, we protect each other, and that's what makes us who we are. HIV might feel like a distant wave, but it's closer than we think, and it affects us all. Just like we prepare for cyclones by coming together, we can do the same with HIV. The strength of our community lies in each one of us, knowing the facts, sharing what we learn, and supporting one another without judgment or fear. Imagine this, years from now, our children and grandchildren might ask us, when HIV was affecting our community, what did you do? Let's be able to say, we stood up, we educated ourselves, we broke the silence, and we protected our village and our Matabu Valley. The power to make a difference is in our hands. By talking openly, getting tested, supporting those who need us, and choosing understanding over fear, we can build a shield as strong as our ocean wall, holding back HIV for future generations. So today, let's commit to action. Let's be the generation that says this ends with us. Together we can create a future where our children look back and feel proud, knowing we did everything to keep them safe. Our community is our strength. Let's use it to protect each other, to grow in understanding, and to ensure a future filled with health, unity, and hope. Vinaka, vakalevu for standing together.